Welcome back to the Virtue Bowling Supply YouTube channel. My name is Chris and I'm here to bring you guys the high rev perspective.
And my name is Josh and I'll be bringing the low rev perspective.
Today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Radical Revenge Solid, and I'm going to be comparing that to the 900 Global Vengeance and the Ebonite GB5 Hybrid.
And I'll be comparing it to the Motive Raptor Rain and the 900 Global Vengeance. These comparisons will give us and you an idea of what these pieces look like going down the lane. At the end, we will give our honest, unbiased review anywhere from nuts to trash. We are here at Mesa East on a fresh house shot. With that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you out on the lanes.
This ball motion was so much better than I anticipated going into this. So to be honest, I haven't liked many of the solid bowling balls that have the factory compound on it, and this one comes with that. So I feel like going into it, I wasn't expecting a ton, but this one shocked me like crazy. The ball motion was really good. I thought it was going to be pretty allergic to oil just because of how weak the core is and having the factory compound on it, but here, even though it feels like there's a decent amount of oil in the middle part of the lane, my misses left, saw it, and continued every single time. And it was even better when I got my angles open and it didn't hockey stick off the friction. Like, it was clean enough through the fronts because of that shine and how weak the core is, but it wasn't super right to left hook crazy. It was pretty blendy, and even my misses right when there was a ton of friction. It didn't overreact and went through the pins almost every time. I think the only shot that I didn't strike was really bad, really around it and kind of slow, so it's kind of no doubt that it was going to go through the head pin. But this kind of reminded me of like a slightly weaker, more continuous, no doubt solid, and I thought that ball was pretty good, but sometimes it got a little too forward. This, I feel like, is a really good kind of slight step down from that, and it looked really good. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw the Vengeance and see how that compares. This one is definitely a step up from the Revenge Solid. I could definitely tell my misses to the right were definitely more kind of arcy and round and forward, where the Revenge Solid actually saw it and was pretty continuous. So I think there's definitely a little bit of a gap. The Revenge Solid is a little bit weaker than the Vengeance saw. Now I'm going to go ahead and throw the GB5 Hybrid and see how that compares. Initially going into this, I thought the GB5 Hybrid was actually going to be pretty close to this, but I do think the GB5 Hybrid is a little bit weaker, and even though the cover is a hybrid and it's a little cleaner than the Revenge Solid, it felt smoother off the friction than the Revenge Solid. I feel like with the Revenge Solid, it actually was quick enough to get off the spot, and the GB5 Hybrid actually had to get on top of it just because of how smooth it wanted to be off the friction. It was definitely a little bit cleaner to the fronts, but still smoother off the friction. All right, final thoughts on the Revenge Solid. With how surprising this ball motion was, I thought this ball actually matched up with having the compound on it more than I anticipated. Like I said earlier, I think the only ball that I really liked with the compound on it, that's a solid symmetric ball, was the Danger Zone Solid, and this ball I thought was way better than that. To be fair, it's a little bit weaker than that, but even here, you would think it'd be allergic to oil, but it was pretty good. Both misses were really good, so I think I'm gonna have to give this one a nuts. I think this is just gonna be a really good kind of weak ball that doesn't feel allergic to oil.
This ball for me is definitely on the cleaner spectrum of solids. This one for me felt like it went through the fronts really easily and definitely felt like it wanted to shape down lane and be pretty angular off spot. I got it to friction. You could see we were on a fresh house shot, so getting it a little right this early on, you know, sometimes it didn't hook, but that's just because it's on fresh. But like I said, if I got it right early, you could see that once I was far enough right, it still overhooked on me, versus when I missed a little in, or, you know, just a little quick even, the ball really missed the spot and didn't really want to see it 100% great. I mean, this ball still rolled well for me. I just think that if there's a little bit more friction on the lane, this is going to look a little bit better, but I still managed to, you know, strike a little with it, even though I knew that it wasn't the right ball, which for me, that's still a sign that the ball's good, meaning that, like, you know, it's not the number one option, but yet it's still trying to roll pretty nice for you. So for me, I was still happy with this ball and the way the ball looked going down the lane. I can definitely see it kind of fitting in my bag. So now we're going to go ahead and throw the Raptor Rain and see how it compares. This ball for me, definitely way bigger. You could see how much earlier it hooked and how much straighter I could actually play, like more up the lane in a sense, in more of the oil, just because the ball could handle it. Where the Revenge, if I did the same thing, like it was not hooking. I had to make sure I got that ball to friction at some point or else it was not doing anything. Where the Raptor Rain, I felt like I could definitely miss in both directions and still get away with it. I felt like when I missed in, it was big enough, but when I missed right, it was somehow still clean enough and, you know, kind of shaped in an angular way off of friction that didn't, you know, cause the hook roll kind of thing. So now we're gonna go ahead and throw the Vengeance and see how that compares. For me, this one was definitely more similar to the Raptor than it was the Revenge. However, I do feel like it was a little bit different in the sense of how it went through the pins. I do feel like this ball was slightly cleaner than the Raptor, but still definitely a step up from the Revenge. You could see how it was still a little bit more angular than the Raptor, where, you know, I still had to get it to friction, in my opinion. I felt like if I missed in, you could see there was a couple shots where the ball wanted to deflect and not really go through the pins the right way, meaning that I definitely wanted to make sure I was getting that ball to friction just a hair sooner and requiring my angles to be a little bit more open. Again, kind of similar to the Revenge where it needed friction, but definitely just overall cover and core just bigger. Final thoughts on the Revenge Solid. For me, this ball was kind of a question mark in my head, but overall, I did really like the way it's shaped. I do think this is a ball that's going to be good on kind of lower volume stuff. So if you're bowling a lot of like doubles and singles, you know, in your local state stuff or something like that, this ball is definitely going to be, you know, one to look out for. For me, for here today, like I said, we were bowling on fresh, didn't look the best, but I am still going to give it a fire. I felt like it gave me a decent enough ball shape to where I still could trust it going down the lane. So it's going to be a fire for today.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video useful, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.